Welcome to the video lecture on Schools of Comparative Literature. Before entering the topic, I would like to give the definition of comparative literature. The term comparative literature was first coined by Matthew Arnold in the year 1842. Comparative literature is the study of literature across borders, languages, genres, and disciplines. It examines the relationships between different literatures and between literature and other fields like arts, culture, and history. This field analyzes similarities, differences, and parallels among literary works, themes, and cultural contexts. There are three schools of comparative literature described in the video lecture. They are French school, American school, and Russian school. Two more schools were added. They are Chinese school and Indian school. First, I would like to give a definition or a quote given by H.S. Rimac. According to H.S. Rimac, comparative literature is the study of literature beyond the boundaries of a particular country, and it is the study of relations among the literatures, other scientific areas of knowledge and belief. As I mentioned, the three schools of comparative literature. First, I would like to give you the brief about the French school. French-German school in the field of comparative literary studies. The scholars have given much importance to historical perspective. Even it is popularly called the French-German school. It may be referred the ideology of the whole of Europe. This European perspective is rooted in the desire for colonial expansion due to industrial revolution. The main objective of this French school is searching for interstate or intercultural relationships in literature. Some scholars of this French school have come out with the suggestion that comparative literature is an integral part of history. The structure of the French school is based on the analysis of the raw materials supplied by history. So through this we can understand the French school, the scholars of French school, they give importance only to history. Next we enter the second school, American school. The American school of comparative literature has flourished its glorious development in 1958. After the conclusion of the second conference of the International Comparative Literature Association. So this conference was held in North Carolina University at Chapel Hill. In the conference, all the currents and ideas of comparative literature were analyzed. An elaborate plan was drafted out for the progression of comparative literature. Rene Belloc, he is a Czech-American comparative literary critic. In the conference, he has delivered a speech. That speech insisted aesthetics and universalism. It have been incorporated to historical studies in comparative study of literature. So, as we have seen in the previous school, the French school, the scholars of French school gave importance only to the history. But here, René Belloc, in his speech, he talked about the importance of aesthetics and universalism. So, how these two topics have been incorporated to historical studies. So, historical studies, it was the important given by the French school scholars. But he completely changed that. Not only the historical context, even the aesthetic sense should be it should be enabled in the literature. It's given in the second conference. It's spoken by René Belloc. So the American school is the real founder of aesthetic evaluation of comparative literature. The school has given the gifts like broadness of view, aesthetic evaluation, and universal sensibility to comparative literature. The last school I have chosen here is the Russian school. Russian schools developed in 1960s. It is a combination of influence study and parallel study. It aims to correct the bias of French and American school. So we have seen in the French school they give importance to history. In American school they give importance to aesthetic and universalism. But the Russian school it completely changed. They have to correct the bias. It's happened in the French and American school. So according to the Russian school, the French and American schools started with a wide area of knowledge, but their comparative aspect of literature offers to partially connect with social and historic conditions. They give importance to West criticism attitude. So the Russians are not interested to move away from their Marxism. That's one of the reasons. So this Russian school insisted that comparison of literature should closely relate with social and historic backgrounds. The comparative study of literature in socialist countries opened a new field in comparative literature study. So as I have told you that the Russian scholars are not interested to move beyond the Marxist point of view. So they are not satisfied with the capital analysis, but they lead for a democratic method for every common man. That is the main contribution to the Russian school of comparative literature. To conclude, the ultimate aim of comparative literature is not to establish the inferiority or the superiority of the individual writer or the individual